Now from Times Square, here's what you need to know.
The steps versus the minutes working out, which is better?
Which is better in terms of longevity, reducing our risk of death, in terms of reducing our risk of cardiovascular disease? So researchers at Harvard answered or tried to answer the same question. They followed over 14,000 women all over the age of 60, monitoring how many steps on a weekly basis that they did, also how much time in terms of minutes and when they worked out. What they found out was something that is to be expected. Those who were at the higher end of steps, regardless of how much time they worked out, and those who were at the higher end of time, regardless of how many steps, still had relatively equal benefit in terms of reduced risk of death. For example, close to 40% reduced risk. So at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter as long as you're going over that minimum recommendation, you know, that 7,000 steps a week or that 150 minutes of workout a day. That's just 20 to 25 minutes a day.
So what are some of the other ways that we can move?
You know, I think at the end of the day, you can measure your heart rate, you can measure your steps, you can measure the amount of minutes. It doesn't matter, again, as long as you get to that minimum. Some easy ways to figure it out. We're talking about moderate to vigorous exercise. For example, brisk walking. The way that you know that you're doing that is if you can still talk but not sing. Also, a light bike ride, water aerobics, gardening like mowing the lawn. The average American gets about 3,000 to 4,000 steps a day just in generally living. So if you're going for steps, just increasing that another 3,000 is not that difficult. A couple of laps around the track at the end of the day, it can help reduce your risk of heart disease and also just in general make you live longer.
Bottom line, move.
Bottom line, move. Bottom line, move. Very, very simple.
All right, Doc, thank you very much.
Of course.
We appreciate it. Let's check in now with ABC's M. Wynn in Washington with a look at your latest headlines. Always good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, DeMarco. And 7,000 steps, I feel like I can definitely do that. Now to our headlines. We begin with the tornado threat intensifying across the Midwest. Our Sam Champion with the latest.
Big severe storm season so far. Yesterday, at least 100 severe storms reported. This is the area that we're looking today for the highest threat for strong tornadoes. Now, look in the zone that's red here. This is northern Missouri, all the way into Iowa, a little bit into Wisconsin and Michigan right there. But when you see Grand Rapids, Chicagoland, you're on the eastern end of it. We'll watch Wednesday as the big storm threat drops a little to the south. Little Rock, Texarkana, Dallas, you're in this. But also look at the wedge that heads east. We'll start to see some storms moving in that direction. But for tomorrow, for Wednesday, Columbus, Cleveland, Buffalo, Rochester, Pittsburgh, you are in line for some of those severe storms.
Thank you, Sam. And the deadly turbulence on board a flight from London to Singapore. One passenger killed and dozens injured. The Boeing 777 flight diverted back to Bangkok. Now, Singapore Airlines issuing a statement saying it offers its deepest condolences to the family of the deceased. An investigation is underway. Here at home in the criminal trial against former President Trump, the judge losing patience with a defense witness clearing the courtroom after apparent muttered comments and looks from the attorney who once represented Michael Cohen. Trump has denied all wrongdoing, and Trump stirring up an outcry after his social media account reposted a video with references to Nazi Germany. The Trump team says a staffer who, quote, clearly did not see the word is responsible, but the campaign kept the post up 18 hours before taking it down this morning. And President Biden rallying to Israel's defense, denouncing the International Criminal Court's move to issue arrest warrants for both Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as well as leaders of Hamas. Biden saying there is no equivalence between Israel's defense actions and the terror group's attacks. And the fast food wars heating up. Wendy's with a new breakfast deal as customers demand a better bang for their buck. Prices have been shooting up lately, and McDonald's announcing the special deal rolling out tomorrow through the app and signing up for rewards. And the student-teacher dance-off, you got to take a look at this, right outside of Philadelphia, bringing smiles today. 8-year-old Ahmad challenging his teacher, Mrs. Lori. Now, he was great, but take a look at her. She surprises him, going around him in about a circle. And the rest of the school also surprised with her moves. Oh, my gosh, this was so much fun to see. Now, we actually found out she has a degree in dance, so he definitely challenged the wrong person. And as our Sam Champion says, don't let the gray hair fool you.
Hey, still got it there. Yeah. Oh, wow, another one. Off the top and at the bottom of the segment. I got you. I'll
just take it away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
Also, Evan, you're getting married.
Heading to the chapel this weekend.
Yes, Eva, I just heard you. Yes, I'm getting married this Sunday. It's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited.
Congratulations to you. Have a blast.
Thank you so much. And by the way, the tornadoes also had knocked out the power in Houston, Texas, but our venue just got the power back. So crisis averted. We're going to have a great weekend.
That means it's meant to be.
Yay.
All right, and thank you.
There's much more ahead here on GMA3 on this Tuesday. 250 reasons for this celebration. The governor of Pennsylvania is here kicking off the massive birthday party for the Declaration of Independence.
Plus, a new art exhibit marking 70 years of history getting attention in Kansas. We're going to talk to the creator behind it when GMA3 comes back. All right, Eva, put them up. Put them up. Come on. Come on.
Welcome back to GMA3. The Declaration of Independence was adopted on July 4th, 1776 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That means America will celebrate its semiquincentennial or 250th anniversary on July 4th, 2026.
But you won't have to wait 2 years to get the party started. And today, the new details are now being announced about America's semi-quincentennial celebration in Philadelphia. And it's going to be a massive multi-year event. And here to discuss it all is Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. Governor, good to see you, and thanks for being on.
Hey, gang, great to be with you. And it's going to be massive. And Philly is going to be the center of the universe in 2026.
And we'll all be watching and partying with you. All right, this is a big one, so tell us about some of the events that you have lined up.
Look, 2026 is going to be a huge year for us. We got everything from the World Cup to March Madness, and what we're announcing today is TED Democracy, a series where we're going to be discussing the importance of our democracy, the way it was founded here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, and the important stories and people that shaped our democracy over the last 250 years. You know, the story of our great nation is really ordinary Americans rising up, demanding more, seeking justice, and then ushering in eras of change. And we're going to be focused on telling those stories, along with having a hell of a good time in 2026 in our bars, in our restaurants, on our streets. It's going to be an awesome party here in Philly and throughout Pennsylvania. And Eva, we invite you to come back home and enjoy it with us.
We all know Philadelphia knows how to throw a party. We've seen a party in Philadelphia a time or two. You say, and I'm pretty sure anyone in Philadelphia would agree with you, that this is the natural place to celebrate America's big birthday. Explain to other people who maybe don't understand the cultural significance of everything that went down right there in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, Eva, this is where it all started, at Independence Hall. This is where our founding fathers came together and dreamed of this nation, dreamed of a place where we could be free, dreamed of a place where we could achieve prosperity through hard work, dreamed of a place that would be a place of inclusion and tolerance, particularly here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, founded by William Penn on that promise of inclusion and tolerance and welcoming. This is where it all started. And we are proud of that heritage. We're proud of the fact that we've defined freedom and expanded freedom over many generations. And we're excited to both celebrate our history, but also take a moment to look forward at the challenges we have ahead and draw from the strength of our past in order to be able to have an even brighter future, not just for folks here in Pennsylvania, but for all Americans. This is where it started, and it's fitting that this is where we're celebrating USA 250.
And, Governor, in a year where we're so divided when it comes to race, gender, politics, you name it, why is it so important for us to celebrate this big milestone together?
Yeah, look, I think we have far more in this nation that unites us and doesn't divide us. I think Americans love this country, and frankly, I'm a little sick and tired of people who keep talking, you know, bleep about this country. I bleep myself there. I was careful. I know this is a family program. And what I mean by that is I get that there are some people who like to try and divide us for their own political purposes, but the American people, and particularly the good people of Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, we're folks who love one another, who want to bring people together, who want to celebrate the progress we've made in this country, and who dream of an even brighter, better future together. And so this is going to give us an opportunity to celebrate all that. It's also going to give us an opportunity to just welcome people here to this environment where we are loving and we are friendly. And yes, sometimes Philly folks have a little bit of an edge to them, but that's only when our sports teams aren't winning. Otherwise, we're in great spirits. And right now they're all winning, so we're feeling real good.
But what do you say to those who feel like our democracy is on the line right now, more so than ever?
I think that there are real challenges to our democracy. There are people that want to tear down our institutions. There are people that want to restrict our freedoms, whether it's the freedom and the right of a woman to make a decision over her own body or the freedom to be able to vote for who you want. There are real challenges right now. And to me, I think a source of strength to power through that is our great history, is the great traditions that we're going to celebrate here in 2026, is kind of reaffirming our commitment to the principles of freedom and democracy, is to recognize that there's a whole lot more that unites us than divides us. And in many ways, I know we're coming up on a presidential election. I'm not here to politic with you or talk so much about that. But I do think in many ways, this election in November is a referendum not on two candidates, but a referendum on all of us. And whether we're going to continue to be committed to the principles that started and were discussed at Independence Hall here in Philadelphia, that we're going to continue to drive forward that principle of inclusion and tolerance and togetherness, that this is really a test of who we all are, whether we're going to rise above the noise and defend our freedoms and protect our democracy. I think we can do that by drawing on our rich traditions and history, by ignoring some of the noise and the people that want to divide us, and focusing instead on what's great about this country, our wonderful history, and certainly a determined future where we have more freedom, more liberty, and more independence.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, thank you so much for being here. I was telling DeMarco about the free hoagies you get during the week for July 4th.
I'm coming. I am coming.
DeMarco, man, come on down. You're going to get free hoagies. You're going to get great cheesesteaks.
Yes.
You can come here. Get this. You can come here. I'm at the Franklin Institute right now where 800,000 people come every year, and we're going to have 1 million at least in 2026. DeMarco, you can come here and literally walk through a heart. Like, literally, you can walk through a heart. Even I'll show you how to do it. This place is amazing. There's so many cool things to do in Philly and all across Pennsylvania. And come on down. We're excited to have you, and we'll feed you a hoagie, too.
All right. Say no more, Gov. I'm there.
Thank you so much.
Good.
Up next here, freedom is at the heart of this art exhibit.
We're going to meet the talented artists behind the new creation celebrating the 70th anniversary of Brown versus the Board of Education when we come back. Stay with us.
Hey, I'm Andy Mitchell, a New York Times bestselling author.
And I'm Sabrina Kohlberg, a morning television producer. We're moms of toddlers and best friends of 20 years.
And we both love to talk about being parents, yes, but also pop culture.
So we're combining our two interests by talking to celebrities, writers, and fellow scholars of TV and movies.
Cinema, really.
About what we all can learn from the fictional moms we love to watch.
From ABC Audio and Good Morning America, Pop Culture Moms is out now wherever you listen to podcasts.
We've got the exclusive view behind the table. Every day, right after the show, while the topics are still hot, the ladies go deeper into the moments that make The View, The View. The Views Behind the Table podcast. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. The city of Topeka, Kansas is celebrating the 70th anniversary of Brown versus Board of Education, the Supreme Court ruling that ended racial segregation in public schools. It was named after the Brown family of Topeka, who were plaintiffs in the case.
Artist Vanessa German created a new exhibit honoring that anniversary called Craving Light, a museum of love and reckoning. As part of our special series, A Defining Decision, Brown versus Board of Education, we get a sneak peek at this unique experience.
This is the church hat of one Mrs. Leola Brown, the wife of Oliver Brown, namesake of Brown v. Board. I got involved with Brown v. Board, the 70th commemoration, through their call for artists. I came to Topeka, met with several citizens, and based on the conversations I had with residents in Topeka, I made a proposal for a series of activations. Since coming to Topeka, I have learned that the case of Brown and the actual work of integrating the full American story into our hearts, into our minds, and into the way we live in this country that it's still happening. One of the artworks that I really love and put a lot of heart and soul into are figurative representations of some of the child plaintiffs, some of the students who actually testified before the Supreme Court. I turned them all into power figures. And I made a series of them and elevated them so every single person who walks into the exhibition will have to look up to them. One of the works is a cabinet of wonder, a cabinet of mystery, and a cabinet of curiosity. The strangest thing in the world.
This exhibition features a series of sculptural works as well as performance aspects.
With a fire roaring in our chest.
Vanessa German has a way of communicating with people. Her ability to express what she's heard from members of the Topeka community.
We about to make a choir at the cookout.
She has a real gift for bringing those stories to life and for honoring them in a way that is what they deserve.
You're not talking loud, but you're being the beloved community. Why should people care about Brown? Something that happened 1954 in 2024. Once people step to the inside of the story, they'll find that it's really a story about freedom. Freedom matters every day, all the time, completely. Who are we if we are not free? And this is a story that is ultimately about the power and the breadth and the beauty of freedom.
Freedom matters every day. Well said there. And pretty nice there. Vanessa German's exhibition is now open and will be on display at the Mulvane Art Museum in Topeka, Kansas through July 20th.
And as millions of Americans get ready to take off on the nation's highways this Memorial Day weekend, an important heads up from Dr. Darian to keep your family safe on the roads.
Got some good information for you. Plus, laughing instead of crying. Funny man Paul Scheer is transforming difficult moments from growing up in his new memoir. Come on back. We're back now with Dr. Darian taking a look at a new article in the Washington Post. It's asking the question, does eating too much sugar really make kids hyper? I think I can ask both of you guys this question. I'll start with you.
Well, I'll start with the data, and then Eva will come in with the parenting data, which is a little bit more accurate. But in the studies, when they look at it, a lot of this was born out of a myth from popular diets in the 1970s and the 1980s, looking at additives in food, which thankfully most of which has since then been subtracted. But that myth of sugar causing hyperactivity has persisted, even though studies from then and now have shown that sugar does not affect a child's hyperactivity. And so it's a common myth, but it doesn't discount the risk of sugar. We should still avoid added sugar, especially for children under the age of 2. There should be no added sugar in their diet.
But that's a direct contradiction to the anecdotal evidence. When you give a toddler a small amount of candy, specifically chocolate, I think is the worst. But the chocolate, caffeine in the chocolate?
That's one of the reasons why. Chocolate has caffeine in it, so it might be associated with more activity and might be the reason why your anecdotal evidence is also accurate.
Kids should be able to enjoy a little candy, says the favorite uncle.
Says the favorite uncle. Yeah. He gives the kids candy and then walks away.
The one that doesn't have to put the kid to bed.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Doc, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Of course.
Stay with us. We're back in a moment.
The first ever criminal trial of a former president is underway in Manhattan. It's one of potentially 4 trials facing former President Trump as he makes his third bid for the White House. What do voters think about his culpability, and would a guilty verdict make a difference in the election? I'm Galen Druk, and every Monday and Thursday on the 538 Politics podcast, we break down the latest news from the campaign trail. We sort through the noise and zoom in on what really matters, using data and research as we go. That's 538 Politics every Monday and Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Married moms in the suburbs. They've been called soccer moms. They've been called security moms.
Pamela Wilk is a so-called soccer mom.
Those so-called Walmart moms.
She calls herself a hockey mom.
I love those hockey moms.
The hockey mom trying to connect with the soccer moms.
In the 1990s, the idea of soccer moms as the quintessential swing voter took hold. Elections could be won or lost based on a candidate's ability to appeal to them. But were quote-unquote soccer moms actually the deciding factor? In a new series on the 538 Politics podcast, we take a look back at conventional wisdom from past elections with a critical lens. Where did that wisdom come from, and does it hold up today? Find the Campaign Throwback series in the 538 Politics feed wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. We are heading into Memorial Day weekend, and for many families, that means it's time for a road trip.
Yeah, pack the car up. But each year, car accidents unfortunately account for some 4 million ER visits. And Dr. Darian is outside our studios right now with his prescription for wellness. Good to see you. Any tips for us who will be hitting the roads with our families?
Well, I'm so happy to be in this car because it reminds me of something really, really important, which is how to stay safe with doing things inside of the car. So, Eva DeMarco, the first step is making sure that your position is correct, making sure the steering wheel, specifically the airbag, is facing your chest and not your face. In the event of a front-end collision, you want that to hit your chest and not your face. The second thing, I know we all love to do this, putting your feet up on the dashboard. Not only is it disgusting, but it is also dangerous. You want to make sure that when you're getting into a front-end collision, that your feet are not up on the dashboard. That can cause you more injury and also cause you to slip out of your seatbelt. And then the most important thing overall is also making sure that not only are you secure, but making sure that everything inside of your car is secure. Of course, wearing a seatbelt, but if you have any loose objects like those big canisters that hold water, you want to make sure that either they're under the seat or in the trunk. In the event of a rollover, that can cause or become a projectile object, and that's something you want to prevent. So hopefully these tips we can all use safer as we get on the road.
Good tips, and keep your feet off the dashboard.
Keep your feet off the dashboard,
it's
please.
Disgusting, you said.
Please, especially if it's my dashboard.
Right. All right, Doc, thank you very much. And folks, we would love to hear from you, so please hit us up on Instagram with all of your medical questions for our medical unit at ABC GMA3.
Sometimes I put my feet on the dashboard.
Oh.
I won't do it anymore. Just ahead here on GMA3, finding the humor in the often challenging moments that make up a life. Comedian Paul Scheer is here.
And we are firing things up with Chef Robert Irvine. You see him there. Something delicious for your backyard barbecue. Come on back, folks.
Welcome back to GMA3. You know him from hit shows like Veep, The League, and 30 Rock. And now Paul Scheer is back with a brand new memoir.
He is in the house. It's titled Joyful Recollections of Trauma. The book gives readers an inside look at Scheer's challenging childhood and how it's led him to where he is today. And here to share it all is the author himself, Paul Scheer. Paul, good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
No, great to have you here. So you were raised to keep things private. You wrote a book.
Yeah, I
Why?
know. Well, because now I'm an adult, right? When you're a kid, they tell you certain things, right? They're like, don't talk about this. We don't, in mixed company, we don't say these things. But when you become an adult, you have your kids, you realize, like, it's my duty to kind of share, to kind of talk about what I've learned. And, over the last 14 years doing How Did This Get Made, this podcast that I do with my wife and Jason Mantzoukas, I would just tell these stories. And I'd look at the horrified looks on their face when I tell them things like, oh, yeah, there was my grandma told me about a butcher in our neighborhood who would kidnap kids and then chop them up into chop meat. Oh, wow. And then and if you answered the door when your parents weren't home. And I'd tell that story and be like, whoa. What are you talking about?
That was to keep you from opening the door.
Exactly, and it did work. I never opened the door, nor was I ever chopped up into chop meat. So there you go.
It's funny because you describe your childhood as traumatic.
Yes.
But also you wanted this book to be funny and entertaining. How do those things go together?
Well, I think that we're all like kind of forged in trauma, right? Like whatever has made us and gotten us to this point, like there's good and bad about it. I wanted to embrace both. I'm a comedian, so obviously my version of it, or how I'm going to interpret it, is going to be in a funny way. It's like trauma can be a lot of different things. It could be, this book talks about things like abuse, but it also talks about things like having a really weird run-in with Britney Spears or Robert Downey Jr., or just learning that I have to give up being cool and owning a minivan. Like, that's trauma. Honestly, when you have to own up to getting a minivan, that's a little bit traumatic.
They make large SUVs these days.
So you also say that being a father helped you write this book. How so?
I think that, when you become a dad or you care for a child in your life, you start to look at your own childhood in a way that's completely different. Whether it's empathetic to the parents who raised you or actually even empathetic to yourself. So I think, honestly, having my kids around made me want to write this book for them and also to remember what I've learned and what I want to do differently.
But did it make you softer on your children compared to
I'm a softie. I'm a softie, 100%. You were talking about not giving kids chocolate and sugar. I'm giving my kids chocolate and sugar. Nerds gummy clusters all day, every day. No. But no, I think, the most important thing is like listening to your kids. And I think that really is something where to make them feel seen and heard is the most important thing. And that's kind of what I wrestled with a little bit in the book, is feeling like I wasn't getting that, but making sure that I'm giving that to my kids.
And also embarrassing them.
Oh, always. I'm always going to embarrass my kids. I was saying there in the break that when we pull into school, I turn down the windows and I make sure that I'm blasting like Peppa Pig out loud so my kids are completely embarrassed.
Wrong.
And my kids are 7 and 10. They're like, turn that off! Turn that off!
What are you hoping that people who read this book, what are you hoping they take away from it all?
I hope that people feel like they're at dinner with me. It's a conversation. I think it's important to share traumatic moments, because everything that I've ever learned and the way that I've become better as a human being is by reading and by seeing what other people have shared about their experiences. So I hope in a way it could help people. It's not prescriptive, and if anything else, you'll learn how to not approach Robert Downey Jr.
And you started a conversation, so
yes,
that's important.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you can pick up a copy of Joyful Recollections of Trauma wherever books are sold, or you can scan that QR code. It's right there on the bottom of your screen to purchase a copy right now.
That was a good one there. Coming up, wowing your guests with this easy, fancy dish.
You know we like to be fancy. We're grilling up something delicious and healthy with Chef Robert Irvine. We'll be right back.
That was good.
People who disappear without a trace.
Where is she?
The most notorious murder cases in New York.
Pure evil.
And the most devious killers.
There's a Hannibal Lecter feel to him.
For chilling true crime stories, follow the True Crime NYC podcast wherever you listen.
Oh, that song can only mean one thing. If you're looking for mouth-watering recipes to show off on this Memorial Day weekend, our guest has got you covered.
He's the man. He's made a name for himself as host of Food Network's hit show, Restaurant Impossible, and he's going to make meal prep this weekend possible for all of us. Please welcome chef and entrepreneur Robert Irvine, everybody.
Oh, thanks for having me.
You are so lovely. You're actually kind of scary on your show when you're like telling people how it is.
You're lovely in person.
But I have 48 hours to get things done. Like, we've got 3 minutes to get this dish done.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to start with labneh, which is a Greek yogurt. We're going to add a little lemon juice, a little zest, some salt, some za'atar, which is a Mediterranean seasoning. Mix, mix, mix.
And what are we making again?
We're going to make a swordfish kebab with almost an avocado salad. Now watch this. This took me 20 years to figure this out. I'm going to show you in 3 seconds for free. That's it. That's how it goes. So we've got some cauliflower here.
Okay.
I'm going to pinch salt and pepper on it.
Okay.
This is pre-blanched, which means it's boiled and then cooled down in ice. I'm going to put a little... Eva, can you put that on there?
Yep.
Quick.
Right, while he's putting that on there, I'm going to start with a marinade, which is lemon juice, a little olive oil, some red onions that have been just chopped.
Fast.
Oh, I'm getting some zest, salt, and pepper. And this is kind of the marinade for our swordfish.
Now, how long would you keep the cauliflower?
Till it goes nice and golden brown, and we want the sugar to come out of it. Everything has sugar. We don't add it, but the fruit does. So there's the marinade, look. And all I'm going to do is put our swordfish on the skewers and just leave that for about 2 to 4 hours and turn it occasionally so it gets all nice and nicey.
So just a couple hours, no overnight situation?
You don't want to do it overnight because it's water. Fish is 90% water, and we want just enough flavor in it without drying it out. So if you put a little bit of DeMarco on there, and this is one that we've already had done, right? And you can see the colors of it. It's beautiful.
Ooh, sizzle.
On top, right? We just let it do its thing. Now check to make sure the cauliflower is turned that over.
Sorry, I forgot
While
about the
you're checking, you got to keep... I know you don't like to cook.
You can tell the cook.
I know you don't like to cook.
In the kitchen.
So over here, we're going to make our salad, which is avocado, tomatoes. Okay. Add a little chopped garlic, a little red pepper for heat, sweetness of garlic, some olive oil, little acidity, which is red wine vinegar, and you need that to bring out the flavors together. A little chopped parsley. I feel like I'm doing all the work.
You are doing all the work.
Why am I doing all the work?
Really well, too. We're just ready to eat.
We're going to turn that. Okay. You can use your finger. Just turn over. Look. Yeah, we go. Come on, you're a big guy.
See, I didn't want to break it apart.
You won't break it. So I'm going to start with our plate of our labneh. So this is something that you can do on Memorial Day weekend.
That's so fancy looking, too.
That is. Memorial Day weekend, a special weekend, because we honor those men and women that wear the cloth of our nation that have lost their lives, right? So I will be in D.C. hosting the Memorial Day Parade, and we'll be doing about 1,000 kids from TAPS, Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, Gold Star families. We cook for them for a week, and then we do a big parade to honor those men and women that have fallen. And it's pretty amazing, I got to tell you, because the Robert Irvine Foundation spends 145 days a year around me, basically, around the world with our men and women that wear the cloth of the nation.
Wow.
You do a lot of work with the veterans.
Yes, I'm about to take 300 veterans back to Normandy for the 80th anniversary. So look at that, that's beautiful. That looks absolutely beautiful.
But you don't want to cook fish too long, right?
We're going to flip the cauliflower over.
Okay.
There we go.
Look at me doing Eva's job, you know what I'm saying?
Well, look, see, this is beautiful. That means that the sugars came out of it. We're almost ready to plate this. So we'll give that another second. But we're taking these, with American Airlines, 300 World War II veterans. We're doing a dinner in Normandy. Robert Irvine Foundation is cooking and taking care of those. You know, there's only 70 really left, and the resistance are in France. So it's going to be really exciting. And then on the 5th, heads of state come in, 6th, the memorial, and then the 6th afternoon, I fly to Scotland with 100 wounded warriors to do a 56-mile march across the country.
That's very special.
So, all right, we ready for this?
You ready?
Yeah, pick it up. Okay. We got a cauliflower first.
Take the cauliflower,
make it nice and nice, pretty. No.
Oh, you want it on top?
I want it pretty. Come on, DeMarco.
Okay.
No pressure. Whoa, come on, whoa. That's it, that's good. And then we're going to apply this right across the top there.
Okay.
Look at him cleaning the plate off.
Oh, look at that.
So it'll look brown. Right across the top?
Right on the top. Just.
Oh, wow.
Oops. Obviously, you don't follow directions, DeMarco. Come on, man. Dude, I'm going to call. I am calling your mother after this.
Oh my
All right. So there it is.
Perfection.
That looks good.
Come over here. I've got one already played over here.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate it. And for today's recipe, go to goodmorningamerica.com/food, or you can scan that QR code right there at the bottom of your screen.
Can't wait to dig in. Thank you very much.
Married moms in the suburbs. They've been called soccer moms. They've been called security moms.
Pamela Wilk is a so-called soccer mom.
Those so-called Walmart moms.
She calls herself a hockey mom.
I love those hockey moms.
The hockey mom trying to connect with the soccer moms.
In the 1990s, the idea of soccer moms as the quintessential swing voter took hold. Elections could be won or lost based on a candidate's ability to appeal to them. But were quote-unquote soccer moms actually the deciding factor? In a new series on the 538 Politics podcast, we take a look back at conventional wisdom from past elections with a critical lens. Where did that wisdom come from, and does it hold up today? Find the Campaign Throwback series in the 538 Politics feed wherever you get your podcasts.